what's up? You're listening to the Instant Grits podcast. I'm your host, Devin, CEO of Determined Athletes, and I'm determined to inspire. It's been a while, but we're back.
We back in the building.
Patton, how are you? How you feel?
I'm good, man.
Big
I'm
Timbo,
good.
Big Tree,
Oh, here we go.
Groot.
Here we go.
What's your other ones?
I
Sir
don't remember,
Patrick list.
but we're going to get to yours.
Sir Patrick.
Bev, a.k.a. P Bev, a.k.a. the Mongoose, a.k.a. the Irritant,
I don't like
a.k.a. little guy.
Do you know Patrick Beverly?
I know who he is.
Yeah, he calls me the verbal Patrick Beverly.
He is the verbal Patrick Beverly.
I don't like that. That's kind of offensive to me.
Yes.
That's must be a rough dude.
Okay, cool. Okay, see, that's cool now. Okay, now the fact that he said it, we have a guest in here today, and we're going to introduce him shortly. But the fact that he said that he must be a rough dude, now
you feel better.
I feel a lot better now.
Jeez,
I don't respect what you be saying.
Well, that's fine. I don't really care.
I respect what this.
It applies and it sticks.
I respect what he has to say.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not going to listen to you anymore.
I do too.
You notice I'm not even looking at you, Patton. I'm looking at.
That's fine. That's fine. And I'm gonna get him to clear up the first debate that y'all keep trying to fry me on. And I see everybody and they keep asking me, the same question about the debate because they listen to the podcast. So
bring it up.
I'm gonna have him clear it up, and then we're gonna shut that whole argument down.
Can I finish, please?
You can go ahead.
Okay, remember that. But we want to give a shout out to Lopez. He's not here today. He's taking his family on a cruise or something, so he's gonna be gone.
He's a great father.
Yeah. He's making moves. So shout out to him. Also, good job today. Not today. Good job on
Saturday.
Yeah. We did our Boots of Bravery conference, and the information the kids got, the young men got, it was awesome. I got nothing but positive feedback. Nothing.
Yeah,
had kids saying it was life changing. When's the next one we're going to be doing? One person that was there pulled me aside and was just saying, like, I need to be around more men like this because I don't have access to it. Wow. And he just loved all the information, and he's ready to apply it now. He wants to be a part of our accountability groups when we start that stuff up. So
it's awesome.
So like I said, huge shout out to everybody that was participating. Go through the names because I've been hitting the head a lot. I can't remember all the names of the people that were there.
Yeah, besides
I was speaking.
Right. Besides the podcast, besides us, our crew, we had Tony Benson, who he leads the organization called Protecting Parks.
Cool dude, man. That's my guy.
Yeah, real cool dude. We gonna have him on the podcast later so he can give you guys some more.
He was spitting bars. He was dropping info.
Oh yeah,
he was the first one. I think people forgot, but he was the first one.
He was hitting them heavy. All that about accountability. We had Mr. Bill Fagans, Divine Insurance Group, to drop some financial.
They loved him.
I know.
They loved his story.
He opened up their eyes to a whole lot of stuff, and even us. I was taking notes too. So shout out to Bill and Divine Insurance Group. We're gonna have him on the podcast to do just an insurance piece too, and then
he's gonna be part of this whole determined to inspire movement.
Right.
Just like
absolutely.
Got to have him on board. An educated black guy. Like,
yep. Absolutely.
It's crazy. It's powerful when we all get together.
Yep.
But go. Who else?
And then we had longtime 76ers assistant chaplain Ron Perry come through, and he was
he just came through.
He was real. He just happened to be coming by, but because of his position and the respect I know I have for him as being one of my guys, he came in. He dropped some knowledge on him too. So
go ahead. One of the young men said they didn't know a potential gold medal gymnast was right in Philly like that.
Yeah, sitting there the whole time.
Sitting there the whole time. They were just like, yo, they loved his story too.
Yeah.
They loved everybody.
Yeah, he's in the Olympic Hall of Fame in Philadelphia and all of that. So we had a great lineup. We have to do it again. The importance of bringing black men in who've accomplished something and who don't mind giving back is like super powerful. And so we're going to try to keep recreating that as many times as possible to help save the next generation.
Maybe I'm speaking this into existence. Maybe our guest.
Possibly.
Oh, he just gave us the eyebrows. Like, who knows? We'll see. I'm going to shoot these bad boys up real quick. Pop. Because he cool. So, you know what I mean? But it was great. It was a great experience. And I'm really happy they loved it. Patton held it down. He did some speaking. Lopez held it down. He was talking about the love languages.
Yeah.
I was just talking about some entrepreneurship and some mindset shifts. Patton was talking about chasing your twin and the Kingdom Keys. Like,
it
was good, man. It was great. So
it was awesome stuff.
Shout out to the great you for letting us host that. That was amazing. So moving on real quick. My new accountability challenge. I'm back on my water. So for the
Oh, we
past
doing
4 days.
Okay, I'm with you.
So
I'm gonna jump on it too.
we do accountability challenges a week. Just things that help you hold you accountable and that will better yourself long term and short term. And I'm back on my gallon of water per day. I'm actually drinking more now. It's getting so easy.
Yeah,
So I can see
yeah.
from what you said.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it was hard at first, but now I'm just like pop, bottle, pop, bottle, pop. Yeah. Anytime I go in the fridge, I'm like, I'm just getting the water now. Yeah. You got your method. I got my bottle method. You got your
I just need to
crush
see
a whole
vision.
gallon method.
Yeah, I need to see the gallon.
Nah,
that's just me.
Yeah, because you're a weirdo.
You know. That's fine. I'm also rather large, so them little bottles that you have don't really
you
don't
can
do
crush
me
one
any good.
You take one sip and
they don't do me any good.
good.
So I don't feel like I drank anything because that's a joke. So,
okay, all right. You got your method. I got mine that actually works.
Fine,
so
right.
yours doesn't.
Mine does too. I can see a gallon going.
I need you to text me every day when you finish. Then
no problem.
You're gonna lose.
No problem. Never.
I'm the only one that actually posts this footage.
Not to you.
Of me actually doing the accountability.
So because I don't post footage, that means I lose.
Excuse me, I'm talking to the guest.
That's fine, but I'm asking a question. You're talking about me.
Excuse me, sir.
You're not going. Just gonna bypass.
Hold on. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Okay, go ahead.
How am I supposed to know if he's done his job or not if I don't have any type of visual evidence?
You don't trust him?
No, I don't. Look at him. Look at
and
that.
I know that's a
Look
lie,
at that face.
So it's okay.
I don't trust. I don't trust that face, Groot. I don't trust you at all. No, absolutely not. But I know you know. I know you trust me though.
Guys, man. No, well, not really. I
yes,
mean,
you do.
You can pose. That could have been from last week. How do I?
You really think I go like that?
How do I know?
You really think I
you
go
know
like
why?
that?
Because I trust what you said.
As you should. Thank you.
Right.
So moving on. He trusts me.
about?
I got to
What
work on
about?
my trust with him. Okay.
Right.
I thought we was closer than that. But with that being said, new accountability challenge. Let's get this water in today.
All right, I'm with it.
For the rest of the week, and we'll check back in. If y'all want to join us, I've put it out there. Anybody that posts a video of them doing the water challenge with us or completing it, I would trust you over Patton, and I will give you $100. I said I would. I said I would just cash app anybody that wants to get in this with us. And
Okay.
y'all running.
That's
y'all
a
listeners
gallon,
are running.
A gallon of water a day.
Who wouldn't want just $100? That's a bill. You could take your youngin' out on a nice
Yeah.
little date. You can get
That's a week's
get
worth
some
of
diapers.
gas.
That's some diaper money right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
I don't know nothing about that anymore, but yeah.
for somebody.
Yeah, for somebody else, it
Speaking
is.
in generality.
That's true. I got you.
So moving forward, though, we had a great guest today. I'm always excited to sit and listen because I'm not from Philly. But when I first met him, I was just sitting listening, and I was like, "Yo, this is kind of awesome." I just wish I was privy to this as a young boy when I was growing up.
Yeah.
My specialty was music and then sports.
Mm-hmm.
Was yours sports and then music, Patton, or was it kind of the same? Like honestly, because I did sports too. But what was yours?
It's kind of, in terms of like passion and love for it, it was sports then music. But music was all in my house. My mother sang, my sister sang. And I had family members that played instruments and stuff like that. So it was around, and I kind of liked it and knew about it. But if I was to say what I really gravitated to, it would have been sports first and then music second.
Got you. Okay, well, I was the opposite. But shout out to the NBA draft yesterday. I watched some of it and I got bored and I said I need to get some work done.
Yeah.
But who did the Sixers pick up?
They picked. We were talking about that on the way down. Yeah, they picked up a lot of guys, and then they traded so many away. So I don't even know who actually stuck. And then they had like conditional picks, I guess, from the trade a couple years ago.
Did y'all have a first round pick this year?
We did, number 24, but that
they
pick
traded that away. That was Boston's pick.
That was Boston's pick, and then Boston picked for us at like 18 or 19, whatever pick they had.
And they traded that away.
Yeah, and then they traded that away. So I don't.
All right, look,
it's weird.
Just go ahead and introduce our guest. Like I said,
okay.
I consider him a legend in my eyes. He's like a pillar.
Same here.
Of awesome.
Yeah.
Eyebrows shut up again. You see?
Yeah, because he's not going
pop him up.
Subscribe.
Pop his eyebrows. But go ahead, Pat. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so in the studio today we have definitely a Philly legend. I know you probably don't want me to say that, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
His eyebrows ain't pop up that time.
I know.
So he's like, yeah, calm down, young man.
Because former NBA player, played in the NBA, had a great career, played for about 10 years. Finished up his career, I believe, with the Philadelphia 76ers. Was in the Philly Sports Hall of Fame, the Temple Hall of Fame. Played with some of the 50 greatest players. I mean, I can go on and on forever, but I'm probably most proud to say he's been my mentor for the better part of the last 20 years, and he's in the studio with us today.
That's awesome.
Mr. OJ himself, Ollie Johnson.
Got to program some
Big
press.
fella.
Why don't you push some keys? Put some chords down.
Big fella. Oh, I don't got the piano.
Oh,
hooked up.
no.
Yeah, I need to.
We said we was gonna do that.
Yeah, I'll put it in there. I'll make sure I put it in there.
No,
How you
but-
doing, big fella?
I'm doing great, man. Happy to be here.
Yes, sir.
I
Glad to have
I
you.
want to hear what y'all was talking about real quick about Black Wall Street, real quick, because
Oh,
y'all
man,
y'all
don't do
mentioned
that.
no,
Don't do that.
just real quick, because the thing is, like, we talk about it, but
Mhm.
have we ever really experienced it? This is something that we're talking about, but he might.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, what was y'all talking about?
yeah, you
bring
know,
up?
we talked. I mean, we've talked about it offline, you know, for the past couple months, and trying to recreate that. So we were talking about it on the way down. So I just asked him, like, you know, do you think it's possible for us to recreate that? You know, in today's society, in today's time, do you think it's possible for us to recreate a more modernized version of the Black Wall Street? And his answer was,
I don't think so. I
Mhm.
think the temperature and the me thing now is so strong that I don't think people will work together to do it.
Mhm.
Could we do it? Yeah, very possible. But we're talking about folk who had who just come out of Reconstruction, depending on each other, and there was a great sense of community. I mean, I wasn't around then because I was in the late 1800s, or
Yeah.
But I've read about it, I heard about it, and sort of kind of experienced things like that from spending so much time down south,
Mm-hmm.
where communities were very tight, built around the church. Um, most things happened in that community, and it was similar, but nothing to the magnitude of what happened in Tulsa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Like, I have. Go ahead, Patton. I got questions, but
No, I mean, and my thing in my thing in hearing that and understanding. I mean, I know he's telling the truth. He's just my go-to, but to me, it describes the whole instant grits concept. Like, you know, everybody wants theirs now, instead of taking the time to, you know, let things slow cook and marinate and, you know, work themselves out, work the process out. But, you know, it's too much of, like Mr. O says, too much of a me now type of mentality, and with that you'll never be able to get that type of, or have that type of impact economically collective.
on that scale, like that was a larger scale. Like, we're trying to do some stuff here, but on that scale,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The
That
amount of
type
people
of-
that were not.
Yeah, man.
Those
Think
that
about
community.
those people in Black Wall Street. That money was turned in the community, I think, close to 20 times. It didn't even leave the community.
Wow.
They were working outside of that small area,
Mm-hmm.
but they would bring it back and go to their own movie, stay in their own hotel, eat at their own restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
shop at their own supermarket. So they were turning that money in the community, and that's really what makes strong communities. Is that
Were they growing their own food at these supermarkets too? Were they doing their own
no,
farming?
no. I don't know about that part, but
Mhm.
sure there were farmers
Mm-hmm.
and things like. I don't know about that part,
Okay.
but I know that within that community, that money was turning, and that's really the
key.
strength of a
Yeah.
community is to have your own business. There were a lot of entrepreneurs there, the undertaker, the barber. So that's really the pillar of being strong,
Mm-hmm.
and there was great land ownership. So when the tragedy came, that all went
Yeah,
away
that was
overnight.
it.
In 2 or 3 days, that was done.
I mean, things
Wow.
have changed now, right? And everything's more digital. Everything's more on their phone. Is there a way that somehow, how would you do it digitally? Like blackwallstreet.com. Make it like, how can we take advantage of the internet to connect and unify
They wouldn't
people?
be in one place.
What do you mean?
The strength is, I mean, there's a lot to be said in face to face. Like,
Mhm.
Right.
I mean, I think most people feel pretty good if you get a birthday card. People
Mhm.
don't do. People might email you or whatever. That's a little impersonal to me, although I do it sometime. But
I get you.
to take time to go visit somebody who's in the hospital is different than
Mm-hmm.
Facebooking them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's something to be said about human contact
True.
and understanding what made those folk in the late 1800s, early 1900s was they had just come through the struggle. So they understood what it was not to be free.
Mhm.
And to really understand what freedom is, I mean, they had to kind of learn because they had worked for somebody else for 400 years,
Right.
basically as a people. So now we have an opportunity to do it. And there were few leaders. There were some strong community leaders that forged the way,
Mhm.
and people fell in line, and it was good. It was enviable, and that was one of the reasons why, you know, the destruction happened because folks were enviable. And we're hearing the same thing today about, these folks are coming in taking my job.
Mhm.
That's a lie. When folks come in and doing the job that you don't want to do, I'm not taking your job.
Right.
I mean, I'm not being preachy, but
Right.
I look at the plight of Hispanics that come in as migrant workers who are probably afraid to come in now because they might get
Mhm.
arrested and kicked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
We're gonna have fruit dying on the vine because I don't, man. Have you ever put anything on the farm?
No,
I
not
have.
recently. No.
I have. It's not something I want to do again. I think I went to the farm. Well, down south I did it in my family's what they call a garden. That was 9 acres, which is a lot of stuff.
Oh my God.
But when you go to a real farm, there's no trees, particularly when you start talking about butter beans and
Mhm.
things that grow on vines. That's tough work.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to do that, man, all day, every day.
Yeah.
But there are folks who do it as a way of life, and they've adapted to it, and that's what they do. So they're not taking jobs. They're doing stuff that nobody wants to do in a lot of instances.
Mhm.
So, that argument has been going on for many, many, many years is that people are coming here taking our jobs. Nope, that's not. There's some truth in it, but that's not the whole truth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said,
Man.
we might just have to do one more of these and maybe have we just go in on it. Like I
Yeah.
said, I just want to hear
Absolutely.
what y'all was talking about.
Mhm.
And like right now, I'm already just thinking about a whole bunch of stuff. I wrote down like 3 or 4 questions, but I want us to really quickly, if you could, if we could transition into basically how did you get started with sports? How'd you get? What's your 3 to 5 minute sports story for you? How did?
My story is a little different in that I kind of.
Because it is unique. I've
Yeah.
heard it a
It's
couple of
kind of
times, but I like
different
listening to it. So
in
go ahead. I'm
that
gonna listen again.
I was raised in the church, and I went to church on Sundays, and I couldn't understand why my friends was playing ball on Sunday. Um, and this was when actually my first time playing on Sunday. I was 19 years old. I asked my mother for permission because I felt very strange going out because it was something I never did because it wasn't a part of my life.
Mhm.
Um, Sunday for me was singing in the choir, going to church at least twice, sometimes 3 times. So, my friends still laugh at me for walking by the schoolyard with my hat on and my suit. I still get teased about that, but my story's a little different than that. Um, I didn't really start playing basketball until after high school, and not because I didn't play. I didn't. I wasn't good enough. I just didn't play it, and I just wasn't a basketball player at all.
So you just like a tall guy
I
walking around?
grew like 6 inches or so between my senior year and in high school,
Sheesh.
and
Senior
about a
year of high
year or
school.
two later. So I was a late bloomer on all fronts.
Wow,
Mhm.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was funny. I remember one day I was working. I was going to community college at the time, working out. I was working full time and going to school full time playing basketball. And one day I was walking down the street, and one of my guys from South Philly said, "And there was a dude at community with the same name. Yeah, 50 points that night." I said, "Dang, he must be a bad man."
Now,
I mean, I know it was me, but I
yeah.
snuck up on everybody because I wasn't a high school player or nobody knew me for playing basketball at all around the town.
You
So
kind of just like a natural a little bit.
I don't
Like
know how natural it
I
was.
mean, being
I
gifted,
just
coordinated,
kind of
naturally.
sneaked
Yeah. Okay.
in the
Mhm.
back door, and I think I'm a product of unbelievable coaching
Mhm.
and development because when I went to Temple
Mhm.
after community, I shot the ball with 2 hands, and it took me a year to learn how to shoot it properly. And it was the most frustrating because you were learning on the job. I mean, they were throwing me out there playing, so I'm playing against the best, as Temple always has done. in the
Mhm.
country, and I can't hit the side of a barn. But you keep working on it. You keep coming to the gym early, and um, you start to get that feel. So, and the coaches have to see something in you to pull it out. I mean, I didn't see it. I had been working. I worked 2 years after high school, and I was making $1.35 an hour. So when the guy came to me and said, "We want to give you a scholarship. You don't have to work anymore," I didn't ask any questions.
Yeah.
Where do I sign? So
So they saw
I
you
was very
playing at
fortunate.
they saw you playing at CCP.
Yes, at the time you could only play 3 years of varsity. So every school, all the Big Five schools and Division II schools had a freshman team.
Okay.
So we played against all of them, and
And you was giving out
I
buckets.
I had a great opportunity to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of guys who can play, a lot of guys from the neighborhood who were far better athletes than I was at the time, but they didn't go to school. So
Okay.
fortunately, I was in the right place at the right time.
And then you was at Temple. How was Temple?
Temple was great. Um, it was a lot of work for me because the sport was new. And at community, if we had 100 people in the stands, that was a big deal.
Okay.
But my first game at Temple was played at McGonigal Hall. It had just
Love
opened up
McGonagall.
in 1969. It just opened up, and I run out, and there's like 40, 4,500, 5,000 people in the stands. Man, I was like, Lord. But I remember the game because we played against St. John's,
Mhm.
and St. John's was ranked number 1 at the time, and we beat them that game. So
Wow.
it was very memorable, and yeah, I've been around a long time. We opened up McGonigal Hall. It was a state of the art facility in the Philadelphia area.
That was the best. I'd still say it to this day. That's the best gym I've ever played in. I miss that gym. The floor, the air conditioning, the rims were just soft enough.
Just good enough.
It was great.
So what did you specialize in to get you drafted? Like
Um,
what when you was on the
That's a
floor,
good
what did
question.
you this is what I do and this is what I'm
I
gonna
don't
do.
I don't think I did one thing
Mm-hmm.
particularly great, but because we were small
Okay.
as a team and we played against everybody and we played zone, I learned how to play. And again, so we played both defense and offense,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned how to play both defense and offense and play it well and understand I just had a great understanding of how to play basketball. And I remember one day, and we have these epiphanies during our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I went up into the racquetball court and I was playing against a guy. I'm like 19, 20 years old. This guy had to be 60, 65. He's just killing me.
Oh, you said racquetball. Like
Racquetball.
got you. Okay, go ahead.
And I'm watching him and I'm like, and I'm running myself to death. I'm tired. He's barely moving. He's just playing the angles. And I had an epiphany that day. And I'm saying, that's how the game is played, is with your head more than your body and your feet. So I began to like study guys and take my time and watch other players.
Like who were some of the people that you was watching?
People I watched were
Yeah.
guys who played my position.
Okay. What position was that?
My main position was small forward in the pro game. Bill Bradley was frustrating because I couldn't figure out how I couldn't get to his shot. And I sat and watched him a whole game and figured it out that it wasn't in his stroke, it was in his feet, that his feet were always
Wow.
ready to shoot. And I practiced that. I watched a guy like Bobby Jones, who's not a big physical guy because he's a great defender.
Mm-hmm.
And what I noticed is that his philosophy became my philosophy. If I'm playing defense, I don't care who it is. If he don't touch the ball, he can't score. So, I just broke it down very simply. Yeah. And if a guy got the ball in where I felt danger, I foul him. So
See,
I just
Danger
foul
zone.
him.
Danger zone. Oh,
Yeah,
pop. Boop.
Yeah, he's foul. He's gonna have to make some free throws.
Mm-hmm.
So, understanding the game, understanding who I was. I wasn't a guy that jumped out of the gym or, I guess I was one of those guys classified too small, too slow, too whatever. But I played 10 years. So obviously somebody paid me 10 years to play.
Mm-hmm.
I did something.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think I was fortunate enough to understand who I was and to never be outworked and to understand my position.
Okay.
That's the key.
What the biggest high in your professional career?
The day I was drafted,
Okay, what was that like?
Wow.
it's not like it is now.
Hmm.
I had no idea what the draft was, whatever. And my story is this: that I was walking down Broad Street, and somebody ran up and hollered and was calling me, and said the coach wants to see you. And when the coach want to see you, it's like Emma Johnson calling around the corner, say, and somebody saying your mom want to see you. You get
Oh my
scared.
God.
That's crazy. So you was
So
approached on the street.
I was approached on the street. So
Oh, bro.
and the guy says, I got some news for you. Like, you've been drafted. But remember, Vietnam was going on at the time. So
Oh my
my
God.
thought
That's
was,
the wrong one.
I was going into service.
That's the wrong draft. I'm like, oh, you ran. This is
I
my
will never
news.
forget that day. I thought I was like, man,
Like, which
Oh,
I
draft
just
you mean?
graduated.
Yeah.
There's two of these things going on. Which draft we referring to? Okay.
So to take it further, I got drafted by the Trailblazers, and to take that story a little further, I actually did wind up getting drafted, and I joined the National Guard. So at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm at the Oregon National Guard Center signing up for the United States Army, and at 9:30, I signed my first NBA contract later on. So
Wow.
that was quite a day.
You did double draft. You
Double, yeah, I
you
got
double dipped the
drafted.
drafts.
I
That's-
got drafts. Right.
What was the biggest difference between playing at Temple and then playing against those pros?
The size and the speed of guys.
Yeah.
So
have
it
a
doesn't really
guy-
change, but
Oh
that's
man,
pretty-
that's a big change.
No, I mean like even now, like college going into pros, the size and speed.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we always say.
the
Yeah.
speed of the game
Mhm.
and the skill level of a Oscar Robinson or a Jerry West is just off the
Oh my
charts.
sheesh. Oh my sheesh.
Yeah,
That was
I was
very good word.
fortunate enough to play, or unfortunate enough to play on the West Coast.
So I was unfortunate enough to play. Yeah.
Yeah, so my month was like one night I had to play against um, one of my very good friends, Spencer Haywood. The next night I have to play against Rick Barry.
How
Oh, my God.
nasty were those guys? How tough?
Oh,
were
wait,
they?
don't do it. Don't.
Like,
Real
no,
tough,
seriously.
man.
This question needs to be asked, and it needs to
Okay.
be asked off of my ignorance too, because I'm
Okay.
a fan of the game.
Uh-huh.
I've seen highlights. I've heard how nasty these guys were,
Yeah.
but I have no examples of.
Oh,
like,
listen, that's there
like
you go.
what? Why is Jerry West and
Rick
all the-
Barry and all them.
Oscar like?
I always say there's those guys and then there's the rest of us.
Okay.
It's kind of like that. A guy like Jerry West, who's known for offense, was probably a better defender.
Wow.
Who?
Jerry
Jerry
West.
The logo.
He's probably a better defender, and he was long. And I read his book, and he, his thing was that he was trying to destroy people during the game. I
Jerry
didn't know
West?
that about him,
Yeah, a
but
killer like that? I
he's
didn't know
a
he
killer,
was
man.
trying to kill people.
Come
like
on,
he's a
like a nice
killer.
guy.
Yeah. That's exactly- you know what I mean?
Don't let
Exactly.
the smile fool you. He was
Uh-huh.
a killer, man.
Who would you
Yeah.
compare him to? Could you compare him to
Nobody.
nobody now?
Not now, no. That played.
70s, 80s, not. I mean, like
He
80s,
was as
90s.
good. Well, let's say he was as good as anybody you mentioned to me.
How much would he drop right now? If he was in
Well, at the end of not LeBron, I've been paying attention because I just can't believe the money.
Mhm.
At
I heard
the
you
at the
talking about that
end
before.
of Kevin Durant's new contract, he's going to be making in excess of $50 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So let me back up and say, when I played for the Atlanta Hawks, our team salary, I'm talking about 11 guys, 2 coaches, and a trainer, was $850,000. That was a team salary. So
Goodness.
I would say money is something I just, it's a whole different world. We're talking apples and oranges. But basketball wasn't as popular internationally, or because the contract's been the same. I mean, the players have always made, since the union was formed, in excess of 50% of the gross revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But the pot has grown to be such an amazing beast, with China. And now they invite last night a guy from Japan was picked in the first round. He's a good player too.
Mm-hmm.
He's
From
a really
Gonzaga.
good player from Gonzaga. So
Going to my team.
the international flavor, and now they got 12 teams in Africa, the African League, and one of my students is involved in the Japanese National Basketball Association.
Wow.
So basketball, in India and China and all of these highly populous countries has become a part of the whole package.
Okay.
So the fact that it's become an international game and it's a fast game, my era was baseball. We played baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and now when I look at I love going to the game, but the game suffers because the other sports are so fast,
Mm-hmm.
and we're used to scoring, so it's a difference. So basketball is a huge business now.
But hold on.
Did I mess you up?
No, you didn't mess me up at all. Because I want to talk about that more. But now you just got me thinking, like, there's just so many what we think those players were back in the day. Like, we just see clips, or I just see clips.
Right.
You played against them. So I'm like, when I hear Jerry West, I'm like, oh, he was a shooter.
No.
See?
NBA logo.
I know that. Yeah, but I'm just, you know what I mean, though? That's what.
I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So even
That's
if I'm just
that's
like, oh, Jerry West was
right.
he could shoot.
Oh, he could
Like,
shoot.
what was
the
his
blood
game
out
like?
the basketball.
So he could shoot. I didn't know he was a defender like that. I know his
he could
mindset
defend,
was
but he had these very, very long arms. He was tenacious, and he played on. When I played against him, probably the best team was Wilt, Gail Goodrich, a guy who was Jimmy McLaughlin was his name. He was pre Jamal Wilkes and James Worthy, and they had a rebound to Hap Harrison. They had guys on the bench that could have beat us. I mean, they had Pat Riley, Flynn Robinson. They were just so good and deep. So, I mean, great players, that's not a new thing.
Oh, no.
Not at all. I mean, I've never seen anybody better than Wilt.
Whoa.
Period.
So he's the best player
yeah.
you've ever seen him played against.
Oh, yeah.
You told me a story once or something where
I made a shot on him.
No.
I heard that one.
I thought it was one where you said
It was an accident.
he was.
trust me.
You told me one. I thought that it was an accident, like you was going to foul him, but you did. I can't remember. I might be just mixing something up because I've heard a couple of them from you. But how'd you score him? What happened?
I don't know. I went to the bucket.
I don't know, man. I just.
I threw the ball up and it went in.
Okay.
And he pulled me. He said, "All right, Philly.
Okay.
Don't do that again." I said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Chambers."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he was he as big as what we think?
He was about 7'1", but he
Still
was
pretty
just
big.
a real athlete and a real man. He was strong, and the legend of Wilt will never go away. If you look at who he was as an athlete, he was a great track guy at
I didn't know that.
Overbrook, high jump. He was a great volleyball player. He was just an athlete who played basketball too. And if you ever look at the book, he's got 2-3 pages of things that probably will never be broken. But he was durable. I think he got hurt at the end of his career, but he was very durable.
I never knew he was that athletic.
Very athletic.
Like we just see clips of him.
Very athletic. And his ego was as big as he is.
Oh, okay.
He hated to lose at anything. Now I'm not talking about in a bad way.
Right.
At cards, whatever you were playing, Wilt had to win.
Competitive.
Yeah, he was just competitive. But
What about Oscar Robertson though?
Wait a minute, real quick, big fella, can you clear up something?
I already typed a note down. Go ahead, Pat.
Because a lot of guys, because they didn't get an opportunity to see Wilt play.
Yes.
They'll say, well, he didn't play against anybody. That's why he has all those records. Could you name at least? I know I can name 5 off the top of my head. But
Nate
could you
Thurman.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's hear.
Other than Russell.
Hold on, give him some background.
Russell.
The top 4 bigs and.
Oh, okay. So we did. Well, I was going to give him that later. We
All
did
right,
a
Where it
segment
stemmed
on.
from, where it came from.
This is our first podcast. we did a segment on. They asked me to give them the top 4 big men of all time,
Okay.
and I said in no particular rank or order: Wilt, Kareem, Dream, and Shaq for the for the newbies. Um, and so with the top 4, we have to at that time we had to vote. You had to take one off in all of their accomplishments, and we kind of argue our reasons for picking this one and keeping that one and all of that.
So this went on for about 3 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
this went on.
I was
for a
in
long
another
time.
gym in South Philly, brought
This
it
went
up,
on a long
we were
time.
arguing in there.
And
We was
I still
arguing.
get the argument. So, but
this was a big topic.
But to deal with, I mean, we'll get back to that. But to deal just with Wilt, one of the knocks on Wilt, which I didn't feel should have been a knock, was that the competition wasn't as tough in his era. Like he was so head and shoulders above everybody that he didn't really compete. And I'm like, well, wait, if Russell won 11 rings, like what's going on there? And that was his main rival. But like you said, Nate Thurman and just some of the other guys who were like formidable opponents, like. So they would know that he didn't play in an era where it was like cupcakes or something like that.
It was a big man's league.
Thank you.
I mean that the small ball came along later with Michael and being ball dominant. But you're talking about on the West Coast, you had Jack Sigma, you got Nate Thurman. Wilt came to the West Coast later. You had guys of the Big Whopper who played for Billy Pulse. Played later on. On the East Coast, you had Willis Reed. I don't know if he played against Dave Cowens, but Cowens, Russell, they always had guys. Then Washington had a couple of guys.
Unsell or before?
Unsell. Then there was a man named Bob Rule who played. They were like at the center position. There were a lot of good players. Left hand play. Bob Lanier.
Bob Lanier from Detroit. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sam Lacey in Kansas City.
So that's at least 10.
It was it was so tough. I mean, the first game I started against the Milwaukee Bucks, and when I walked out and saw you hear about how big Kareem is, but when I actually went out and saw how big this man was and how fluid, the only thing I could think about is I got to go home and work on my jump shot.
Because I ain't going in there.
Yeah. And they took it personal too. I mean, the attitude was different. Like when you dunked, you really earned it. There weren't a whole lot of dunks. You might go to foul line.
Wow.
There weren't a whole lot of dunks in there.
So that was like an unspoken rule. Like you don't come through here and get.
You could.
dunked.
You could
You
go
just
in.
gonna pay for it.
Yeah, you're gonna pay the price. So, it wasn't a whole lot of easy buckets, and the game was a little slower, but I don't think they score a whole lot more on average than we did. It was a little different.
Wow.
As on a whole, we were better shooters.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask. If the game was slower, then
it was a little slower, and there was no 3-point shot at the time, so there was no advantage of shooting like a Curry. Because I'm sure there were some guys who could have done it that I can name off right now, but there was no advantage to it because it was only 2.
Right.
Let me ask you this real quick, because we made the comparison, and I'm not even trying to re-bring it up, and I'm not even joking. This is a serious question. Shaq, we said, is dominant, right?
Right.
And then we said Wilt was dominant. Was
Right.
Wilt skilled as well too?
More so.
Ooh.
Yeah, more so. He had some patented moves.
Okay. All right.
And he could run.
And the one I'm asking, because
he was a great athlete.
I think I didn't even know how good of an athlete he was, and I'm around ball a lot, and you played. That's what I'm asking. So he was skilled.
Very.
So let's settle this now.
I didn't miss it. I mentioned Jack Sigma.
You did.
Yeah, there's a
Sigma.
couple moves named after him. So there were guys, man.
So we'll settle this now, and then we'll go on. So on my list, big fella, I had the one that I decided to take off the list was Shaq. I kept Wilt, I kept Kareem, and I kept Dream. And my rationale was because there was a Wilt, in terms of just dominance, and I mean, Wilt was dominant. Like, you score 100 points and you grab 55 rebounds and you block 20 shots and all this type of craziness. Like,
What about him averaging 50 points in a year?
I didn't even go into that.
Okay.
And then turning around, I think a year or two later, leading the league in assists.
Yes, he said he was going to do it. He said he done everything. Now he's going to do this.
So, like, for that, like, if there was no way he was coming off.
Don't you paint this picture negative? Don't you dare do this.
No, it's already recorded.
It is.
We know exactly what I said.
Don't you do this.
We know exactly what I said.
All right, continue.
For that reason, he wasn't coming off my list.
Neither mine.
Kareem at 38, 387, he's not coming off my list.
Me too. But you see how, hold on. You see how he's angling this? He's angling it as if I was going against him with those.
No, but now you're hearing from somebody that actually played.
I'm looking you right now.
These cats.
I'm looking you right in the eyes right now, Patton.
That's fine.
You better not
keep
angle
looking
this.
me in
You better.
I'm not. All I'm doing is reiterating what we already said. And then I said Hakeem stays because, to me, he revolutionized that center position by having the handle, by having all those elusive moves, by doing this and doing that. That was the only reason that I kept him on and took Shaq off. Now, I asked your expert opinion.
You don't put 11 rings on there?
See, only issue with that, and we said that. The only issue with that is because I think people have said that Russ, because he was 6'9", was more of a power forward, which I mean, because my argument on the thing was, if that's the case, if we do that, then Russell beats everybody. I mean, 11 rings, he beats everybody. But just for the sake of those four, I mean, I know what you mean because I made that point too. But just for the sake of those four, I kept Dream over Shaq.
Oh, I'd keep. I had to put Russell third.
Okay.
Who's yours?
What's your
four?
I would put Kareem. Well, I put Wilt, Kareem, Russell.
And
who's your fourth? Because you can go Moses. I mean, well,
somebody
you
you played against.
Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hold on, I'm gonna change this up. I'm gonna put you on the spot. The top four that you've had to guard.
Oh, geez.
Unfortunately, I never had to guard any of them.
Oh, okay.
Now, you said top four players? Or
yes, top four players that
okay.
you've had to guard. I know
players.
Yes, I'm gonna type these down.
Probably guys you never really heard of.
That's cool. Like, this is why you're here, because I'm ignorant. I don't know.
I thought that Bobby Dandridge was a headache.
I heard this one.
I thought
Bobby Dandridge played for the Bucks.
Chet Walker.
At the Jet Walker.
Yeah. Then there's a whole lot of other guys that were just unbelievable.
I need two more.
That I had I'm going to name guys that people don't really talk about.
That's fine. This is awesome.
David Thompson. I mean, everybody knows Doc and those. I'm just talking about guys that people don't really talk about.
All right, give me one more. Then let's go in and see why they were so hot. Tell us why they were
Let me give you two.
Go ahead, let's go.
Marcus Johnson.
Bucks, too.
And the Greyhound from Phoenix, Walter Davis.
Ooh. What made Bobby Dandridge? Why you? Because I have headache by his name. You said he was a headache. Why was he?
Because
what was
usually
the game like? What was
you
the build?
I mean, there's a rhythm to basketball. There's a rhythm to how he just was offbeat, and I could never catch it. And he ran all day, and he was an extremely great scorer. And a lot of that came. He played with Oscar and Kareem when they were in the title, so I'm sure he picked up a lot from those guys. But
that's tough.
He was a tough guard. He was tough, man. Real tough.
It's funny. When you said you gotta look away and just like go back and think about it.
Yeah,
what about Chet Walker?
Chet did everything in slow motion, and he just got there. He had the hook shot, right, left hand hook, backboard. Couldn't foul him because he shot 90% from the line. Great first step, and he just never rushed, and probably could have scored much more if he wanted to. But he was, he played with Wilt.
Yeah.
And then later on, he played with the great Chicago teams, with Jerry Sloan, Bob Love, and that group. So he was hard to guard.
David Thompson
jumped out the gym.
Oh, okay.
David Thompson jumped out the gym.
Okay, just jumps.
Yeah, he won the greatest dunk I ever saw in the pro game. David Thompson.
Wait, which one is that? I think I remember this.
We were
Story.
playing in Kansas City, and they had just come. See, that was a tough year too when the ABA and the NBA merged because you got to play Ice, David, and all of those guys. So they brought some amazing players over. But I saw David. Denver ran a sideline break. It was like 4 or 5 seconds left on the clock. One pass went to the half court. The other pass went to corner at the end. David took one step from the basket and went up and dunked on both of my big guys. And he had small hands, so he had to cuff the ball.
That just made it.
Oh man, Kemper Arena, which is in Kansas City, everybody stood up, and they were the visitors.
Wow.
It was just the most amazing. It was like that couldn't be real.
So
that couldn't be real.
Yeah, and you see dunks, you see great dunks, from Doc and other guys, but this was on. This was on and over two guys, 6'11", 6'10".
So David Thompson was the one that he caught the
ball in the corner?
David Thompson
caught the ball in the corner, took one bounce, one dribble, and just went up, and I just couldn't believe what I saw. Yeah. Yeah.
He said it's unreal. Like,
unbelievable.
I was thinking about it.
We all
one
could
dribble
dunk
from the corner. Yeah.
How tall was he? What was his dimension?
6'4".
Oh, sheesh.
Yeah.
So he got up.
What?
He got up on these boys.
Bumped his head on the backboard in high
that dunk contest with you see that dunk contest with Doc when he first did that free throw line. That's David Thompson that was pushing him in the finals, doing all them crazy windmill like Dominique type dunks with that.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Hold on, we almost done. Hold on. I have another question for you after this. This is gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be awesome. Marcus Johnson. Why was he so nasty?
Marcus was about 6'6", but real strong. He was the guy that filled up the stat sheet, like 18 points, 10, 11 rebounds. Real strong, tough. Just really played the game well and was great in that system that Milwaukee played. They had a good team with Junior Bridgman and Sidney Moncrief.
Oh, Sidney Moncrief.
Alex English, all of those guys.
Yeah, you told me that. I didn't remember that he was on the Bucks.
They had a good team, and they all could bring the ball up basically. But I had the misfortune of having to guard Marcus.
And he just stat this stuff. He was a stat.
Yeah, he was just and he was just so strong and power. Just a powerful player.
And the last guy you said, you called him the Greyhound, Walter. I didn't get his last
Walter
name.
Davis.
Walter Davis, I think came out of North Carolina. Great first step, mid-range game, just quick. And by his nickname, he just ran all day. All day. I mean, there were others, Rick Barry. There were others.
Right, that's more notable.
Who just could play, man. But those guys, people don't talk about too much.
Okay. I have a two-parter question.
Yes.
So this five, Bobby Dandridge, the headache, Chet Walker, David Thompson, Marcus Johnson, and Walter Davis beat Golden State right now.
I don't know if Chet would fit in because he was just so methodical. But he could play, man. He just had the first step, and he, just had all the shots.
Because we're saying small ball, and they don't have a really big lineup. That's the only reason I picked Golden State.
Could they beat them?
Could they push them to 7 games
to
beat them? Ooh.
Oh, yeah. They could.
All right.
If all things being equal with size.
Yeah.
All things being equal.
Because we know their lineup. What's their lineup? What's the dimensions of
pre-injury?
For Golden State's lineups. Their heights.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So you got Steph is about 6'3".
Okay.
Clay runs about 6'7" or 8. KD.
But these guys are all forwards that we're talking about.
Yeah,
right.
That too. That's why I have a
follow. These guys are all forwards.
My follow. Hold on, finish up, Patton, and I'm gonna ask you to follow up.
Yeah, KD is a legit 7 feet. I don't think that's too much of a stretch. I mean, it got him at 6'10", 6'11".
And then Draymond.
Draymond is legit 6'7".
Okay.
6'7". And then they switched it around so much. I don't even know who the last guy was.
Let me throw a point guard in there.
Okay.
And then maybe we could win.
Throw a squad
Okay.
in.
Who's-
Throw me
who's
your
your point
lesser known squad. That's my next question.
Well,
The lesser
Okay.
known, not diminished squad. Just the
Tiny
lesser known.
Archibald.
Oh, game
Whoa,
over.
whoa, whoa. You can't do that.
Why?
Why not?
Everybody knows about him.
No, I
But
just
he
wanted to
saying
throw
from
Oh,
that
okay.
person into
He's
that
just
mix.
throwing him in.
Oh, sheesh.
Yeah, yeah.
Why would it be game over now? Like, come
Because
you
we
said
wouldn't
game
have
over.
to worry about these guys getting shots because all of these dudes could shoot. And Tiny was the best that I played with, and I played with some really good, And one B would be Mo Cheeks.
Oh, Mo. Okay.
Yeah. Pistol don't pass.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah,
You told me that.
Pistol was an amazing player, but he don't pass.
So give me your top 5 lesser known. Is Mo Cheeks your point guard, shooting guard, small forward? We'll go traditional position.
That I played with.
Lesser known
With or
killers.
against?
With or against. The lesser known killers that you just named, because you just named 5. And I'm
Bobby
the-
Danger's going to stay. I can tell you that. now.
Let's say,
Who's your point guard?
I guess I'd have to put Mo in there
Ooh, that's okay.
because he was
You want
purely a point guard and played amazing defense.
And people know about him, but they don't. I probably don't.
Yeah,
have
they
the full
wouldn't rank him
understanding.
probably. I never played against John Stockton and those guys.
Mo Cheeks Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
He I think before Stockton, he might have been the steal leader, wasn't he? Or
Yeah,
I
he
don't
was
know.
one of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just amazing defensive player and good guy to be on your team
Mm-hmm.
and could pass. I mean, he was a fierce competitor.
Who's your 2 guard?
Lesser known.
Yeah, it could be one of these killers, one of these bad boys that you named.
Okay, I'm gonna get a pure shooter, Brian Winters
Wow.
or Jeff Petrie. I think I'm
Heard
gonna
about
take Jeff
Petrie.
Petrie.
I was about to say.
When he thought about it, I was.
Yeah,
Heard
if
about
I'm,
Jeff
forming
Petrie.
if I'm forming that kind of a team,
Why was he so tough? Because you didn't put him on.
he could shoot from anywhere.
Oh, and we're talking about shooters. Okay.
Yeah, so if you're doing purely by position, I thought Jeff was could really shoot, man, unbelievable.
Well, how tall was he?
About my height, about 6'5".
Oh, he's a good sized shooter.
He was a big guard at the time,
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Petrie.
but playing in Portland, not highly advertised. But he was he and Bob Lanier, I think, were rookies of the year when he came in.
Oh wow.
But
didn't know
Jeff
that.
could shoot that ball, man.
Okay. 3. Who's a small forward?
Small forward, that's a tough.
You gonna put you right? You gonna put yourself right here?
No.
No. I'll put you right here until.
I don't think he's lesser known, but okay, a guy that we haven't mentioned. There's a lot of guys who played that 3.
Oh, think it out loud. Think it out
Jamal
loud.
Wilkes.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd take him.
Are you sure? Who was the other person? Who was the other?
The corner
I mean,
is-
we
the
don't
corner's
talk
the
about
bucket.
they don't talk about Bernard King.
Oh.
You right.
They don't talk about him.
Real ones know about him, but they don't talk about him. So who do you want? Do you want Jamal or you want Bernard?
Ooh.
Hey, that's-
Well,
I think-
tell me about Jamal. Tell me about Jamal, because
Jamal was he give you a quiet 30.
Ooh,
Mhm.
a quiet 30.
Quiet 30.
And at least 20 gonna be
Yeah, I
from the
think
corner.
Bernard's thing was a little louder, But
What was their heights, just so people can get
both of
context?
them about 6'6".
Yeah.
Six guys.
Both of them about 6'6".
So it's about what flavor you want. What flavor ice cream? It's all
I'll
good.
take the Jamal flavor.
Taking Jamal
Okay.
over
Smooth.
Bernard.
He take it smooth.
because he was
Take
so smooth.
Jamal
man.
Wilkes.
He was a great rebounder too
Okay.
for a guy who was not even 170 pounds.
Oh, sheesh.
I mean, he was like one of
That's
those guys.
cornbread
that
right there.
Don't let the body type fool you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a real one.
Yeah,
Okay, your
Yeah.
power forward or your 4.
my power forward,
Yeah, who's
Maurice Lucas.
Oh, that force.
My bad, I didn't hear it. What'd you say?
Maurice Lucas. Yeah, I'm going for the
You going for
force.
nobody
Yeah, somebody
getting
mess with
layups.
my little guy. I ain't got to worry about him.
Nobody getting layups today with Maurice
Yeah,
Lucas.
yeah,
How big
yeah.
was he?
6'8", 6'9".
Just a strong, mean dude.
Just a man.
Okay, hey,
Yeah,
that's
just a
good.
man.
All right.
You see them old highlights of him squaring up with Daryl Dawkins.
Mhm.
Daryl Dawkins doing all
That
this
wasn't a fair
dancing.
fight, man.
He's just standing there ready to crack it. Like,
And you know what's
no
funny?
problem,
We
big
don't
fella.
hear that much anymore. Just a man. Like we don't hear that
Nah,
much in the
nah.
league no more.
Ain't a whole
Yeah.
lot of them.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Not like that.
I agree.
I don't see a lot
I
of
would too.
guys who are just fierce like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it. I mean, I'm sure there's some guys. Not that they don't have heart, not that they're great players, but
Right.
This is why we're talking. This is the whole discussion we wanted to talk about. Is
Maurice Lucas.
then versus now. You just named some killers, and now you just said this was a man. And even in my head, I'm just like, all right.
A real one.
You're a real one. Like, all right. All right. So who's your center?
Oh, gosh.
Come on.
Guys that you're saying lesser known.
Yeah, lesser known. I mean, you threw out Bernard King. And he is known.
Okay.
He's a little lesser known.
Okay,
So I'm saying, like,
I'm gonna say a guy who
second tier, third tier Hall of Famer. Let's say that. That can be a lesser known person too,
Nate
right?
Thurman.
That's a
because
good one.
Nate
That's a good one.
was like, now we got the paint is locked up with Maurice and Nate. On
Yeah,
defense.
How big
It's
was Nate
locked
Thurman?
up.
Was he a big, strong guy?
6'11", 7 feet.
Yeah,
6'11", 7 feet.
Mhm.
But he was long. Like if Nate stretched his arms across the
That's the whole
lane, he got the whole lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he guarding everybody in the lane. And he had great timing. He was a good athlete. So I'm so my defense and my
Rebound.
everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So your all-time team, lesser known.
Oh God.
That's my lesser known team.
You
Right?
said Mo Cheeks,
Right.
Jeff Petrie,
Yes.
Jamal Wilkes,
Yes.
Maurice Lucas,
Yes.
Nate Thurman.
Yes.
They would win a chip if
That's
they played
nasty.
right now.
They would be in the hunt every year.
Could they push Jordan's team? How about that? Could they push
Yeah.
Jordan's team
I
or
think
one of
so.
Dr.
Yeah,
J's?
because of
mentality.
because like they say, like rebounds win rings.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would have been very competitive. Yeah,
That's saying something, bro.
And a whole lot.
because it's coming from everywhere.
But here's
It's
the
coming
thing.
from everywhere because those guys could score too.
And these are
Oh, yeah.
lesser known guys.
Yeah, no.
We didn't even say pick your top 5 that you play with against. Like,
Do that
and
now.
scary.
That's our last one.
Oh, you putting
Oh,
pressure
gee.
on me.
Yeah, that's the last one. Because we already got your killers, your secret killers.
Kareem that I played with.
See, here we go.
Hold on,
this
hold
one
on.
gonna be fast though. Watch.
Let's see. Let's start from. You want to start? Just name them.
Center.
Positions. Yeah.
Kareem, Tiny Archibald, Julius Erving. Okay, I'm gonna go defense again.
Okay.
Bobby Jones.
Out of
Just
everybody,
met him a couple
I'm
months
gonna go
ago.
defense. I'm
Okay.
gonna go defense.
what made him so nasty? 'Cause I don't even think.
He just
really
could
know.
play. He was just such an amazing defensive player.
You would take him over
Anybody?
Russell.
No. He's a forward.
He's a 4.
He's a
Power.
forward. You want me my power forward? You didn't ask me for a center.
I'm sorry. The only reason I asked because I thought that you was
No,
No,
because
he
that's
was
what
a
some
senior.
people do. Some
Gotcha.
people consider
Gotcha.
Russell as a
okay.
as a
So
power
Bobby
forward.
Jones.
That I played with Bobby Jones.
Shout out to Bobby Jones. He's going in the Hall of Fame in a couple months.
Yes.
Oh, good man, that's
Yes.
Okay. Kareem, Tiny, Dr. J, Bobby Jones.
What else I need?
Shooter.
Shooting a guard.
Mm-hmm.
You got Kareem. You got Tiny. You got Dr. J.
Oh, this one gonna be tough.
Guess I gotta put Jeff back in there.
Oh,
Jeff over Gail Gurley.
I didn't play with Gail.
Oh, okay.
I didn't play with Gail.
and these are people you've played with, correct?
Yes.
With or against? Yeah.
Yes.
No, these are just people you
Oh,
played
with.
These are
Okay.
people I played with.
Okay.
We're talking about Jeff
Jeff Petrie.
Petrie again. This dude must have been a.
Oh, he could shoot, man.
If he say he can shoot the blood out the ball,
He
I
could
believe.
shoot, man.
I believe.
Okay.
He couldn't pass, though. I mean, I hope he hears this. I remember telling him one day, because Jeff would pass the ball and the ball would go into the stands. I'm like, Jeff, stop passing the ball.
You on Shaq and the Fool.
Shoot the ball. We'll get the rebound.
So played with.
But he was a really good player, man. And he became a GM. Guys from Portland did very well.
Mhm.
You know, guys after basketball, a lot of guys did very well.
And obviously, this team could be any of the super teams from the 2000s and even now.
They would be
These
in
boys
the
would
hunt.
smack the crap out of them.
They would be in the hunt. You know.
They would
They would
smack.
be.
Look at the names you put
Doc,
on here.
Kareem,
This is your all-time.
Tiny Archibald.
Are you kidding me?
That'd be tough. That'd be tough.
LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Bosh, they can't handle these boys. We got Dr. J, Jeff Petrie,
Kareem alone.
Bob.
Cancel that out.
Green bad boy,
Are
man.
you kidding me?
Big fella to rock that.
You don't know.
You
You don't know how good he is, man. Kareem, bad boy.
Because the only thing
That's-
we ever see is just his hook shot.
That was good enough.
It was, right? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
38,000
Like you
points.
said,
Of
we
all
have
the
no
great
idea.
shots I've seen, that skyhook. I asked him one day, how come young guys are not copying that? He said, well, they don't think it's sexy enough. They want to dunk.
Listen.
But that shot was
Ugh.
the number one,
Ugh.
better than Wilt's dip,
Yeah.
better than Jordan's backboard, step back, whatever. But that
Ooh.
better than,
Ooh.
and Larry Bird was a bad boy too now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bad
Please,
boy,
I
but-
don't know why they cut Larry Bird out there.
But
Played against. I need 5.
Ooh.
Best players you've played.
Ooh.
man, that's
against.
a tough list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
You know,
I-
paying 10 years, that's a hard list, man.
Mm-hmm.
Instant grits, hard question. And plus, you a real one. So it doesn't. It could
You
be
know,
5. You could just throw some names out there for real, for real.
There are guys that I really liked. Didn't like playing against them, but when I look back, I mean, Larry Bird, Kevin I could name
Oh
that
my
back.
gosh, Larry Bird.
I could name back Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish.
Wow.
So the Celtics.
I could name that. I could name those 3 right there, and put Tiny on that team, and anybody else who's got a decent jump shot and win a lot of games.
Hold on, just because I'll be typing. You said Larry Bird, Kevin McHale. Who's the third person? I just
Robert Parrish.
Oh,
Robert Parrish, the Chief.
And that's like we had.
That's just
another-
one
Why you ain't
team.
put him on your defensive team?
The Chief
Yeah,
Chief,
over Nate Thurman.
Chief
Bobby
wasn't. Chief wasn't.
Oh, Bobby.
Chief.
Oh, wait a minute.
Bobby Jones was a forward. Chief was a
And-
center.
and I messed the list up.
Yeah.
Purely
Played
a
against,
center.
played with versus played
Yeah.
against.
Purely a center. Chief was tough too, man. That was a tough front court.
Mhm.
You know. Then they had JoJo White came along. I mean, there's so
Crap.
many guys
Yeah.
that could play. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on. That's why I don't really get in those conversations. Who was the best?
Because
Yeah.
it's not fair.
Because it's always the latest and the greatest. That so and so's the greatest ever, but
And
that's not true.
So we had another one, big fella. I'm just gonna throw it out to you. We had one where we debated the top 4 duos of all time, and one of the sticking points, one of the arguments was in the era, I guess the early '80s, late '70s, going into the early '80s. My argument was everybody had a squad pretty much. Like teams were
Teams were tough.
deep, right?
Yeah, fewer. There were fewer players.
And more
and
teams
There were fewer teams.
and fewer teams.
And we had fewer players. I remember one year
Mm.
the league was cut down to 11 total.
11 teams.
11 players.
Oh wow! Oh, on the team, I got you.
11 players on the team.
I got you.
Because of budgetary reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So the union agreed to that to keep things going.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really tough year because you really getting the best of the best. You had no nights off.
Yeah, yeah.
No nights off, and guys were just balling, man. Guys were just balling.
And it's interesting because, like I said, I'm just looking at your killers list, all these players, and the kids now think like it's so easy to make the NBA. Like,
Huh.
like
I think it's harder now in a sense because it's an international game. If you
Mhm.
look at the draft
Mhm.
last night,
Yeah.
the reality is there's a lot of players coming from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Players are coming from Africa, South America, China, the Eastern
Everywhere.
Bloc. You know,
Yeah.
you're getting a lot of the centers. Most of your centers now are coming from the Eastern Bloc,
That's true.
and they're real basic. And they, the kid in Denver, he's a baller.
Bobo.
Okay.
Oh, he can play.
Yeah. I'm
So
kind of surprised. he
yeah,
dropped
it's
so
not.
low.
I think from a number standpoint, I think it's more difficult.
Mhm.
I would always tell kids who, everybody walked in community college Philadelphia was going to the league, of course. But I always I never kill anybody's dream, but I always say, make sure you got plan B. Go to
Mhm.
class.
Go to class.
Go to class. You just never know. It might work out. But your chances of making it become slimmer now because
Yeah.
it's, used to be 1 in a million. Now it's 1 in a billion because you got,
That's true.
Yao Ming, you got other people who are
Yeah, paved the
coming
way.
over. You've got many African players coming over
Mhm.
who are good players who are looking for an opportunity. And, plus the league, is really about image too, and you don't hear anything bad about
The
guys
international
coming
guys.
over, the international players. They're coming over, playing hard, and doing what they do. So it's actually a little more difficult. That's the reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is because of the mindset our kids have now, they think it's probably easier because they think
Yeah.
if they pick up a ball and they drop and they get to participate in the recruiting process or not even go to the recruiting process. Somewhere along the line, somebody's told them that they're the best thing since sliced bread and they're going to make
Mm-hmm.
it to the league. I just don't know when this started.
I think it's been kids, and we don't really know when we're young.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to be Willie Mays
Mm-hmm.
or David Ruffin from the Temptations. I mean,
David Ruffin.
I just knew that Motown was gonna call me one day because I was singing on the corner. But that's like what we don't know really does hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
Educating our kids about the reality of things and um.
Gotta work too.
Oh
That's
yeah,
another thing.
yeah, yeah. You
Gotta
gotta
outwork
work at
everybody.
I
it.
was in the gym yesterday, sir, and they worked when I was training them. Like we just going over some drills and stuff, and they were working really hard. Another little kid came in the gym, so I wasn't paying them no attention. They talked for about 45 straight minutes. And you know me, Patton. I'm looking around the gym and I'm
Yeah.
getting uncomfortable because the gym's too quiet.
Right.
So then I kind of snap. I asked my little guy who I was trying to say, "Do you want me to snap on these boys now or after you leave?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Well, why'd you snap on them?" I said, "Look around."
You're not working.
Dom, who's a professional boxer,
Mm-hmm.
was running and flipping tires.
Mhm.
Joy, shout out to Joy, basketball player, just put a post up on her on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
hitting a bucket. She was jogging for 20 straight minutes. She flipped tires 4 times, jumped on and off the tire,
Mm-hmm.
and then ran 10 laps. She did that for 25 straight minutes. So it's like the people with a different mindset were in there working.
Mm-hmm.
And then the younger guys, unfortunately, and I'm just going to say younger here, they were just sitting talking and texting on the phone the whole time. So I'm like, yo, y'all tell me D1 all the time,
Mm-hmm.
D2, D3, NBA, but look what the true professionals are doing in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not working, why are you even mentioning that stuff? I mean, it's interesting.
I think. I mean, we had this conversation with with another kid the other day. Is one of the things I'd say I respect about Kobe Bryant is he's maniacal when it comes to training and preparation, and to even be considered for Division One, like that's a totally different animal. You don't just wake up, pick up a ball, shoot it, and become a Division One athlete. Like you have to be a monster. And I mean, some God-given talent, absolutely that helps. But you got to outwork everybody. You have to outthink everybody. You have to take care of your body a different way. You have to train a different way.
Yeah.
It's
It's
all
kinda
of
like
it's hard work.
you
Yeah,
just
I mean
said it.
exactly what
He said
exactly
it's
what
no
Mr. O
magic
said.
drink. You just said it's no
Yeah.
magic drink you can drink to just get more endurance. You have to
Nah.
work.
Nope.
And how
Ain't
many
gonna
kids
happen.
play high school ball? What's the numbers now? 550K, 550,000
Yeah.
kids.
Easy.
Yeah.
How many
Yeah, and I think that's probably a little modest.
And then what's the number for college? D1, D2,
Continues to
D3.
go down.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it goes to maybe a little over maybe 1,500, 1,600.
I can't remember. I used to know these
then
stats.
NBA now, I mean, with the advent of, you could say G League and you could just say professionally, you just say 600 max spots.
When I used to have to give speeches at panels, I would always say we going down from 550,000
Mm-hmm.
to 24 chairs. It's like musical chairs.
Yeah.
24, and those 24 chairs are the 12 all stars on East and West.
Yep.
Just to help some of these kids realize
Yeah,
the
so you can
numbers,
get it. Mm-hmm.
not demoralizing their dreams. Because I just believe if you work hard, you'll get some benefit out of something. Eventually.
Sure.
And you can work hard until your time is up. Just like
Yeah.
I did with my music.
Yeah.
Injuries happen in professional sports, but
And those skills are transferable, because if you just develop a habit and a mindset that you're just going to outwork anybody, whether it's basketball or whatever, you'll get a great benefit out of that moving forward with life. But lastly, Big Five, I want to ask you,
oh, he said he shot with 2 hands real quick. He said it
yeah,
took him a
he
year.
started shooting.
I
with
did.
two hands.
It took him a year to do.
And listen,
That's discipline and folk. Like who?
I'm pretty confident in my jump shot. I'm probably more confident in my jump shot at 21, but at Mr. O's at least 30 years older than me. So I'm 21. His 52 was better than mine.
Yeah, like mine was better than yours.
No, yours not better than his.
I didn't say him. I'm not talking about him.
Okay.
I would never. What do you? Do you know what I mean? Why you always painting stuff?
Because I'm talking about something that's actually true.
You need some different colors.
He seen my shot at 21. You haven't. You couldn't.
Don't point at me. Don't you point at me.
I
Ooh,
am
you do
pointing
not
at
know what I was doing at 21, bro.
Okay.
You
All I'ma
don't
say
even
is
point
this.
at me and
All I'ma
ask
say
that.
is this,
You
Mr. O.
have no idea what you're talking
I
about.
know you shot better than me at 21, but is my 21 jump shot formidable?
Oh, you got a good shot. You can shoot.
I'm glad you have him in here. Look at that face.
Fry you. I don't know what you talking about.
You don't know what you're talking
Fry
about.
you. Okay.
You have no
Okay.
idea.
He just hadn't shot as many shots as I've had.
See?
You know,
See?
and
But I used to be like, oh, I can't beat him. Like, we playing horse. I'm like, I cannot beat him.
Well, listen, he took a
No
whole
matter what
year to fix it.
Hey, man, listen.
That's
And I
crazy.
didn't know that at the time. I'm just like, all right, Mr. Owen here, he played in the league. He can shoot.
he took a year
for
to
my
fix
shot.
it, but we got kids that don't even want to do our 50 form
And
shots
that's
for
and
their
that's
warm
what I'm saying. Like we
100
come
form
in with
shots.
preconceived, and you don't understand the work that's behind it. That's the even the point that I'm making.
that's
It's
the
like,
funny
wow.
part. They don't see me out there running my 5 miles at 7 o'clock in the morning and
Right.
shooting 400 or
Right.
500 shots, knowing I'm only going to get 5 or 6 in the game. But I better make them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait, we got to encapsulate that.
Say it again.
How many you shooting?
about 500.
500 to only get
About 500
to
again.
only get
Attempts.
That's 500 attempts to only get 5 or 6 shots in
Yeah.
a game.
I better make it, though. I better make 3 or 4 of them shots.
We got kids now squeezing, putting up 15, 16, 17 shots, boinking them. Like boink, boom, pop, pop.
No.
I mean,
No,
that's
No,
the
you,
mindset
you know,
you
our
do.
thing was if you shoot 25, you got to make at least 22, 23. So what we would do is we would pass the ball out from 4 or 5 different spots
Mhm.
and shoot from that spot,
Mhm.
move over, make it interesting.
Mhm.
But you got to make at least 90%. Nobody guarding you. You just shooting.
Wow.
And, we didn't practice. See, they practice from 3-point out, which is they're doing it just the opposite of the way it should be because your shot is found close to the basket.
True indeed.
So when you start early on shooting 3-pointers, you're starting to shoot flat. So the technique is different. But, I just think really that on the whole, we've kind of let our kids down generationally.
Mhm.
And we start raising them, start letting them raise themselves. And so a lot of things that they just don't know. I mean, I was a crazy little kid when I was growing up, but fortunately, I had strong parenting, or no, what would have happened to me? I have no idea.
Mhm.
But I just think that we gotta get back in there and help them to understand that you don't have to be a singer or a rapper or a dancer to make a living
Mhm.
or to do well. 'Cause most of the people that I know who are doing very well never picked up a basketball.
Wow.
Hey,
Yeah.
There's more than one way to be successful.
Absolutely.
You want it to be defined in your life. It doesn't have to be basketball. Whatever makes you happy, whatever helps you have some type of internal peace daily. Hey, you know what? I'm all for it. But
Do that and be the best at it.
yeah, we're gonna have to do this again. Like I said, I just like sitting and listening.
Yeah, me too.
And he's funny with it too, and he's serious when he needs to be. So like I said, this is always enjoyable. I don't do this enough, so we might have to just ask you to come on again. I might bother you, or talk to Big Tree. Tell Big Tree.
As long as he come by and pick me up.
That's he'll
that's
do
easy.
it. I'll make sure Big Tree got some pocket money and make sure you get the gas.
money.
Yeah, the gas. That's all I'm saying. So,
That's easy.
but
man.
like I said, thank you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time
Big
to talk.
fella.
This is gonna be real helpful for all the listeners and even some of the younger guys that we have that I'm gonna make listen to it too. So, feel free. We're on all platforms. We already know that we're on all the platforms. So please tune in. Please listen. And we're getting back on track. We have lives too. You know what I mean? So like we had to take a break. We had to get some things situated. Family stuff.
Sure.
Professional stuff. But this was a strong comeback. The best comeback of all times was having
I agree.
this gentleman right here beside me. So come in the gym. So thank you, Patton. Thank you for letting us establish this relationship.
Listen.
And, yeah, it was
Can't
just
keep
great.
them all myself. I have them for 20 years, man.
Hey, man,
Trying
thank you.
Trying
Thank
to
you.
share.
But no, that's what people need to do. We need to share. So please refer a friend and have a blessed day. We're back. We're gonna keep these going now. So shout out to Boots of Bravery. That was fun. We have some more speaking engagements coming up, which is a blessing, and we got some things we're in the works of creating right now. So make moves, move markets, guys. Have a blessed day.
All right, guys. Believe bigger, faster.